So the market's been a little volatile, up, down, like prices, buyers, sellers, confusion, of course, interest rates. All this volatility is an opportunity for the educated agent. To help you get there, I got my man, Toole, in the house.
Grateful to be here, as always, my friend.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Big game last night, Dallas Mavericks versus the 76ers. How'd that work out?
It worked out great because we had excellent seats, thanks to your hospitality and gratitude. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, man. I don't know.
Exactly. All right. So, Tommy, we were talking off camera about what we wanted to accomplish today, and even though we're giggling a little bit, we cannot make light of someone right now is listening who is just like, it's one of three people. I don't know what to do, right? Maybe got in the business right before the pandemic or during the pandemic, and they were a rock star during the pandemic, and now they're kind of feeling like a rock.
Yeah.
Then you got the people that are just so busy right now that they're just overwhelmed. And then you got the people that are like legitimately trying to figure out, hey, I've been in the business for 5 years, 10 years, 30 years. And I don't know where to start. I just feel like there's so much volatility with interest rates, with confusion in the marketplace. Like, what's the game plan? So we literally wrote down, what are the 4 rules for winning in a volatile market? So the first thing I wrote down, and I'm going to give you guys my insight, then I'm turning to Tommy to just say, let it rip. I think the most important thing, we were talking about it off camera, like I go back to 2006 and I'm in the third year of starting this business, and we are, as a company, I'm feeling really good. We're 3 years in, we're hitting numbers that when you get to a certain size of a business, like everyone's like, man, you've made it. But I spent the entire balance of 2006 telling people the whole world's about to fall apart. Right. And like, you know, the insight was obvious, right? Everybody can remember 2006, like when the joke is when like grandmothers and college kids were buying houses for no money down. Like that's when you know you've jumped the shark. It's over. Yes. You got it's when Bitcoin hit 50 and everyone you knew was buying Bitcoin. And I'm like, this is just stupid. It's going to end, right? It's just common sense. But 2007, I literally remember saying to myself halfway through the year, man, I could just go home. I can close this whole thing down, right? And like, it was just a moment. Like we all have a moment. You've been there. I've been there. Where you're like, this isn't worth it, right? I've got all this responsibility. We're doing all this work, and you go from doing this much to this much, right? I think the person listening can relate. Like anybody can relate to this. But I remember having this moment of like, I just have to make a decision. And for me, the decision was that this was going to normalize and that I was going to make my way through it. And if I had not made that decision back then, a very volatile market. We had no idea how bad it was going to get. Summer of 2008, it was really bad, right?
I remember.
2009, it was really bad. But in 2007, I'm like, I just got to decide. But then the next thing was, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this for the long haul. We're talking about rules for winning in a volatile market. You got to make a decision. And the third thing I wrote down is I had to set a new 10, 5, 3-year plan, right? To sort of emotionally get charged around, I'm in a not my fault J curve.
Yeah.
You with me? I'm in a not my fault J. I didn't intend this.
Yep.
Right? I go from doing 10 to 6 like in a year, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm working harder than I've ever worked before, and it doesn't seem to matter how hard I work, we are still going down. But I had to say to myself, I know that everything takes like 7 to 10 years. So setting that 10-year vision in a volatile market, in a market of uncertainty, I knew if I should say, but this is where we're going, right? That gave me the emotional fortitude to make less money and work harder, to not have to fire everybody. You with me? To instead say, suck it up, buttercup. This will end. Because if I do the work now, when the market turns, I'm going to be ahead of everybody. Everyone else is going to be playing catch up. So that was my first one. Talk to me.
So
decide.
2006 was my second full year practicing real estate. So very similar places. And I remember vividly seeing Gary Keller promoting his shift book at Harrah's Casino in Chester. If you guys know what this is, it's a dump. But and deals just blowing apart. GM's failing. Banks are closing. And I also had to decide. And a lot of people are afraid of that moment. And you've said this many times. The best agents are made in tough times, right? And we've been through a couple of these now. You look at 2020, it was very similar. And you said you have to decide. If you got a backup plan, You got no
B.
plan.
No
You're
plan
not.
B.
There can't be a plan B. You got to burn the boats in this business. And if you decide you don't want to do that, then you're not going to be successful. Because when you have a backup plan, when things get tough, you start thinking about the backup plan right away, and you're like,
The backup plan is better than making the phone calls, having the tough conversations.
For sure.
Having the conversation maybe with your spouse, like, hey, it's going to be rough for the next unforeseen future, but I know if I do the work, right? That's a hard conversation because, I mean, who doesn't want security, certainty? Now, the answer is entrepreneurs.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, we kind of live in the uncertainty, but when you're married, you got to have those conversations with your spouse like, hey, like, this is what we have to do.
That's one of the uncomfortable conversations real estate agents typically avoid.
Yeah.
And they just dump it on their spouse or their significant other. And to me, one of the key ingredients to be successful is have someone that buys in, a supportive spouse or a supportive significant other. And it's not going to be easy. I've gotten more fights with my wife about working than probably anybody in the history of work. Maybe I don't know about you. Probably.
I mean, I married a fiery Italian, man.
That's probably why they get along so well.
Yes.
But,
yes.
So that's a big issue. And if you don't decide, what's going to happen is you're just going to kind of go with the market. You gave me a story one time about someone that goes out and like tries to surf, right? And the ocean is pumping, and that's what's happening right now. And some people go out there and they end up on the shore and they're just destroyed versus people that know how to catch the wave, ride the wave, and understand it.
Right.
And that's what it takes in this market. You've got to be working on your business every day. You've got to commit. And this is the problem coming out of 2020 to 2022 is it was easy to do deals.
Yeah.
I've never seen it easier to do deals before. And congratulations to everyone who did the deal. That's great.
Yeah.
It takes a different skill set right now to do that, where it's about customer education. It's about understanding here's how a sales funnel works.
Wait, you're getting to like point number 4.
But it's
you're right. But you're right. You're right. All right. So the first one is you got to decide. You got to decide: am I in this? Is this my path? Is this my business? Or was this my hobby? I wasn't totally all in. I wasn't fully baked. I wasn't like, hey, this is the career. I'm going to build something monster in my marketplace. And again, you brought something up. Listen to me. All the best people I know, they got battle tested in really hard times. So if you came into the market in 2019 and went right into 2020, 2021, 2022, and you did really well, whatever that means to you, I would argue that was a very difficult market. Right? Now we could say, man, historic low interest rates, massive buyer demand, like a frenzy to buy houses, but it wasn't easy to be, offer number 20 on a house that got 30 offers. That wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
5 times.
Right.
I mean,
5 times in a row with the
issue.
same client. So there was a hard in that marketplace that was different than we've ever seen before. Plus, you had to wear a hazmat suit. Plus, in the state of Pennsylvania, you couldn't sell a house legally until when? In 2020?
60 days. It was March 16th to May 15th. I know exactly what the day.
So my argument for the person listening right now, especially if you're reflecting back on 20, 21, 22, right? And here we are in 23. You worked through a hard market. This is just a different hard market. But in every hard market, in every good market where money is everywhere, you got to make a decision. Is this your career? Is this your business? Do you care enough about it to do whatever it takes? That was my thing with my wife. I'm like, I got to do whatever it takes. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Just stop being of value, stop serving. Tell my kids, hey, sorry, it's been a great run, but daddy only makes money in a good market.
And I mean, that's the thing people don't want to realize is that they think it's easy. And this has always been the problem with real estate. This isn't new. People think it's easy. You make a lot of money. They have these shows out there, all great stuff.
Yeah.
But the reality is this is a grind. This is probably a harder business than anyone realizes.
Yeah.
And when you go through a great market, you can be working hard and making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But in a market like this, you can be working hard and making no money and still doing the right thing that you need to do every day.
Yep.
And eventually it's going to pay off because it's a long game.
Right.
People don't get that there's going to be tough times here. Like, I mean, a lot of agents don't even realize the seasonal flow to the market. We're just seeing it for the first time since 2019,
Right.
where a couple years ago, December 25th, houses are selling, right? I mean,
multiple offers.
Multiple offers every day. Like, hey, Merry Christmas,
New
guys.
Year's Day.
Here's your offers.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore, and folks don't get that there's a seasonal flow to this, and you've got to make hay when the sun shines, I think is the term.
Yeah.
And right now we're in that.
But you also need to plant a ton of seeds. I mean, we're sitting here on
For
March,
sure, yeah.
whatever, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Like we've been talking about since last October. how many listing leads, how many listing hand raisers do I want when the spring market hits? And then what percentage of them am I going to convert? Like, that's the game. All right, but we're getting into number 2, which the second formula, the second rule for winning in this market is more conversations, more appointments. Now, everybody says get back to the basics, and listen to me very carefully.
This is a good point. I want to. You said this to me, and it kind of blew my mind 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So I'm talking to Gino Buffari, CEO of Home Services, personal client forever, right? Great guy, your buddy, right? And he says to me, so what are you telling everybody? And I said, get advanced. And he's like, what? Get advanced? And I said, look, man, everyone's talking about getting back to the basics. Last time I checked, the only people that consistently have lots of conversations and go on appointments are advanced agents. The basics in real estate are like, hey man, what are we doing for lunch today? Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I was thinking about playing golf. I got to work on this. I'm thinking about opening up my CRM for the first time in a week. Like, those are the basics of real estate. The advanced people are having consistent conversations with past clients in Sphere and other opportunities and inbound leads and generating and doing whatever they have to do, because whoever goes on the most appointments
sells the most houses.
That's who wins.
It's documented and proven over and over again.
So what are you seeing? Like, okay, let's go back to the 3 types of people that could be listening right now, right? Somebody that was a rock star who feels like a rock, right? Which is just massive uncertainty. So let's say he or she's made a decision. You got the person that is just their hair's on fire, and they're like, our mutual buddy we were talking about last night. He's like, I don't have any time to make phone. I'm so busy. I don't even have time to make phone calls, right? And then you've got this veteran, this beautiful, super experienced, great with clients, but they're I Love Lucy at the chocolate factory, and there's no chocolates coming down the conveyor belt. Yeah. And we want to help them turn on the machine. So let's talk about some campaigns and things that are working right now to generate opportunities.
To me, it starts with the calendar. We talked about this on a coaching call recently, and Brian, our sales manager, said the same thing to our agents, which is, hey, if you got white space in your calendar and you don't have appointments to go on, you should be spending 70 to 80% of your time trying to set more appointments.
Yes.
That's number one. And most agents are like, well, I made my hour of calls. Nothing happened. We'll see how it goes tomorrow.
No.
That's not how it works. I remember every time I was in a position where I felt I didn't have enough going on, I'm like, great, I'm going to go make more phone calls.
Right.
That was, and you can have conversations a lot of different ways. That was the way I succeeded the best. If you have white space in your calendar and you're not going on appointments, spend that time setting more appointments. And that's something a lot of agents don't do.
Right.
They're done by 12. They're watching Netflix at home. They're going to lunch, like you said, playing golf, whatever. And I don't think people treat it like a 9-to-5 job. And that's why so many agents fail. So that's number one. It's not, if I don't have appointments today, I'm going to go get lunch or take a day off or whatever.
Fill the white space of your calendar with appointment. By the way, if you call it prospecting, just heads up on this. Prospecting is what dirty old men did. And that sounds funny, but like, let's just call it dirty men in California during the gold rush, right? They sat at rivers trying to pan for gold. That's prospecting. We want to just do appointment setting. Get prospecting out of your mindset.
Yeah.
Your job is to find people that have need and need to meet with someone to discover if now is the right time or the wrong time to get educated. The only job, you're an appointment setter. You're an appointment setter. Don't put in your calendar prospecting and follow-up, right? Put in there appointment setting time. You have openings in your calendar, appointment setting time.
If you're not going on appointments, you need to set more appointments because you can't sell a house with going on the appointment. Like I think people, they just want to jump right to the deal.
Right.
And this is something from good to great. People want to jump to the results. They don't want to get involved in like the slow flywheel process where they're pushing that giant wheel every day. So if you don't have appointments, go set more appointments.
Right.
I think that, and you got to talk to people. You're on your phone right now. You know what you need to do with your phone? Stop texting, stop emailing, open the phone setting and dial somebody and have a conversation.
Start at Z.
Yes. Start at Z in your phone book.
Well, you know what I'm doing right now? I was going to realtor.com. So realtor.com, Zillow, Zillow.ca. This is the easiest way. So Phil Jones and I talk about it all the time. If you have 10 meaningful conversations a day, you're going to find 5 people you can deliver value to.
Yep.
And delivering value could be, so, hey, Tom, I noticed, you would ask me about, could I introduce you to, why don't I make a connection for you? Let me text connect you guys. That's delivering value. That's staying top of mind and being more than just the agent that sells them a house every 10 years, right? 5 of those conversations, you're going to be able to deliver some meaningful value. 2 of those conversations, you should find an opportunity to do some business, whether it's today or, hey, we're not moving out until Steven, is out of college. So I've got 2 years, but in 2 years, I'm going to sell my place. I already told you I'm moving to whatever, Austin, right? Like as an example. So 10 meaningful conversations a day. So people say to me, why do I have meaningful conversations? I don't know what to say to them. I go to realtor.ca, go to Zillow, type in their address, take a screenshot of their property and send it to them and say, hey, Tom and Bridget, I was thinking about you guys the other day. Check out this price on Zillow. I have my opinion. What do you think? Send.
Yep.
And if you send 10 text messages of just someone's, whether they're a past client, a sphere, a buddy, a lead, it doesn't make a difference, of their property, or if it's a buyer and they don't own a house, a property in the neighborhood that they would like to go into, just sold, hey, I've got my opinion on this price. What do you think? Text. You're going to have a meaningful conversation.
Well, and what you did there is so critical. The best scripts are a series of questions. It's not like this magical objection handler. Everyone thinks I'm this great objection handler.
Yeah.
I ask better questions than most people. Tell me more about that. Like that, literally, everyone should have that in front of them right now when they're talking to people and asking for appointments. It's that simple. I love what you're talking about there because you're delivering value and it's not lazy follow-up, which we're going to get to.
Yeah.
And you look at the market now, people got a lot of questions. There's a lot of volatility.
Oh my goodness.
You can't, it's literally changing day by day by day.
Yeah.
I think I just spit on you there. Sorry.
It's all good.
I don't know about that. So the point is that.
Welcome to the Tom Ferry podcast.
Yeah, this is how we roll. The point is that if you bring a valid opinion and you actually know what you're talking about, people are going to value that a lot more than the canned, it's always a great time to buy or sell. I mean, you hear all this stuff from agents and people stop believing real estate agents in times like this because they feel like they're always trying to sell them something.
Right.
You're talking about, hey, what's your opinion on a price? That's just a conversation.
That's all it is.
And you know what they're going to do? And you told me this many times. If they got questions about real estate and they're serious, if you're having enough conversations, they're going to know you're a real estate agent.
Right.
And then they're going to say something like, oh, well, they're going to go right into it. Hey, we're thinking about moving. Tell us this, tell us that. Because only 4 to 5% of the population is even in a real estate decision-making phase at any given time. So it's a numbers game. And the more you bring value of, I know everything, I'm here to help, instead of, are you ready to buy or sell yet? I'm just checking in. Are you moving? Which is lazy follow-up. That's what's going to win in this market.
Right. So it's like, do you know the company Palm Agent? I'm saying it to my listener. Do you know the company Palm Agent? So I met with the son of the founder who now runs the company yesterday. Big shout out to Jeremy. And we're going through this app, and
this is super valuable.
All it is a calculator, right? But it's a calculator that shows monthly affordability, sale to net, rent versus buy, a buy down calculator right now. Here's a 3-2-1 buy, here's a 2-1 buy down. And it's not you saying, well, let me think about, or let me get you on the phone with my lender. You literally hit the button. You're like, okay, let's go to the buy down calculator, right? So, it actually explains what a 2-to-1 is, what a 3-2-1 is. And it's like, all right, so the list price is $500,000. We're going to do a 2-1 buy down. We're going to put 10% down. The interest rate is 6.25. Seller contribution, $10,000. Here's what it looks like.
This is so valuable.
How easy is this?
Well, most agents have trouble with math. We were talking about this earlier.
I know.
Math answers 95% of questions for people, and it's about payments. It's about cash to close.
Right.
Those are the numbers you should be focusing on, not rates, because that's what matters to people.
Look at this. All right, so now we're just talking about just a regular old buyer. So, hey, $500,000 purchase price. Oops, went to $5 million. Loan type, conventional, down payment 10. Do you want to do 5? We can do 5% down. Oops, so 5% down. Interest rate 6.25 is just baked inside there, whatever the rate is. Term, this, that, hazard, blah, blah, blah. And in Texas, it'll go all the way down and say, here's your taxes, right? Oh, you have HOA in there? Let's put the HOA in. Because what does every buyer want to know?
What's it going to cost them?
What's my payment?
Yeah,
they don't want what's my mortgage payment. They want to know what's my mortgage payment, what's my HOA, what's my taxes, like what is my all-in payment? And then look, boom, all I do is go compute. I'm like, Tom, so if you put $41,269 down, your payment's going to be $4,600.
This is something we train our agents on. We call this the financial plan to get into the home.
Yes.
It's here's your monthly payment, everything, taxes, insurance, whatever.
Right.
Here's how much cash you need to come up with at the closing. Most people don't write a check for their houses.
No.
And I would argue most smart people don't, because there's a lot of reasons you want to have some long-term debt at a low rate.
Yes.
And if you break it down that simply, and this was something my dad taught me my first couple years in the business, I would just do the closing cost estimate on the MLS, circle the numbers and say, hey guys, here's what you need to do. This is a much more advanced way to do it. And if you can have these conversations on the spot with people, when the emotions are high, when they look at the house, when they're excited, then you're the knowledge broker, number one. You're breaking it down in terms they can understand. Secondly, realtors talk in realtor jargon too much. Like the LTV, no one knows what that means. Hey, here's how much it's going to cost you a month, and here's how much money you need to show up with at settlement. And you should say it just like that. Don't even mess around with monthly payments or principal and interest or anything like that.
Okay, I showed you this one in the gym this morning.
Yes.
Right. This is well, I was trying to buy a house in 2021 and it was on the market for $500,000 and it sold for $595 with like 22 offers. So it literally gives you let's type in what you tried to buy in 2022 at that price, but actually at the price it was going to sell for at the highest possible price with that interest rate versus today, that $500,000 house, you might get it for $495. You might get it for $515 because there's like 3 or 4 offers because it's in a tasty property, and what your new payment is. And then to be able to just show somebody and then have an infographic. Now, Tom, are you an investor in this company? No, but damn, I wish I was. Palm Agent. The guy told me, I'm like, was this created around the time of the Palm Pilot? He goes, yeah, my dad created it around. I was like,
I wondered that when you tell me that.
Palm Agent. I was like, so, hey, by the way, this, you should just check out this app, right? I'm pretty certain it's all under either agency, if you're kind of agency insurance, like title insurance versus like west of Texas is going to be like, Fidelity, First American, all those guys. But Fidelity, I think, has the lock on this.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So I would check this out today. I was shocked to hear that only like 600,000 agents in the country have this. I think probably the 600,000 are selling all the houses have it.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Net effective, right?
Right. So it's having intelligent conversations, doing that in real time, having that app in front of you. We're getting a little into the kind of the face-to-face stuff. What else can they do to get appointments today? So I say CMA a day, but I mean literally just boom, text, bam.
So we've been doing the CMA a day at scale with our team. We're big on, we're going to film a 3-minute video on BombBomb and pull up the MLS information that nobody has and do a screen share and give them enough information that it gets them excited.
Yeah.
And not so much that they're still going to want to meet with you. And there's a fine line there because you have to, these 3 homes just sold right around you. They were this big. If you want to know more, let's talk. I can do an on-site evaluation. I haven't seen your home.
Yeah.
It'd be malpractice for me to give you a number without seeing it in person.
Right.
It's value. People want to know what's going on in the market because there's so much volatility right now. I mean, I've never seen the market this volatile before.
So what do you say to the person that's over here who went from rock star to rock? I'm not busting your chops, but you know what I'm saying, right? Just a massive amount of uncertainty. Hey, I was rookie of the year and I haven't sold a house in the last 45 days or 60 days. They may not have enough past clients to call. Well, they may only have 100 people in their sphere. What are they going to do to find more business?
So I would argue they need to have the meeting with themselves and see what they're actually doing on a daily basis, because you could have sold 20 homes last year by just catching leads as they came in. Yeah. So you got to have that meeting with yourself. We talked about calendar, how much time you're spending.
Yep.
It should be 80% of the day finding new appointments. So if you're not doing that, like just get real with yourself. Yeah. You don't need to do it with anyone else, but just talk to yourself. Have that meeting with yourself. Because to me, it's always my fault. I think you have that same mindset. You're always causing the matter.
100% responsible.
So you start there. Then there's a lot of ways to generate business. You probably got old leads in your database. Most leads convert after 90 days, not the first 2 or 3 weeks.
Most.
It's
65% of people that you meet with end up transacting well after the time that the average real estate agent stops following up, which for some is 2 weeks, for some is 90 days. And then 65% of the transactions happen.
Yep. So, I mean, the old leads.
So call your old leads.
Old leads are great.
Yep.
If you sold a house, call the neighbors, door knock, do that stuff that like people used to make fun of. And they would say, well, I'm not door knocking. I'm too good for this. Yeah. I got my first listing from a circle dial.
That's advanced.
You're right.
Door knocking is advanced because it takes the courage to go, hi, my name is Tom Toole, Remax Mainline. Did you hear about your neighbor? Right? Like, what happened to the neighbor? Wow, they put their home on the market.
All right, so we're going to go basic. I got you.
Yeah.
You said start at your phone book in Z. How many people do you got in your phone? I have 2,356.
6,015 as of yesterday.
So just start there. Just call people that you know in your phone book.
What do I say? Like, I'm over here, and this is also really good for the veteran over here. The hair on fire person's like, I barely have time to listen to this podcast,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So the veteran who just feels like the proverbial rug just got pulled out from under him, or the brand new agent. They're going to call the people in their sphere. What do they say?
So I would start off with, if you haven't called them, hey, I've been a little remiss in my follow-up, and I haven't been in touch with you. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Have a human conversation with them. The Ford script, right? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. I never get to D, by the way. I think that's really weird.
Yeah.
Maybe I would talk about that with my friends, but hey, how's your family doing? Yeah. How's your kid doing?
Yeah.
What's going on? How's the work environment been over the past couple of years? Because
how's work changed for you guys the last 24 months?
It's a great question, because so many people are like hybrid, half remote, whatever else.
Right.
You got any summer vacation plans coming up? What do you guys do for the holidays? You can time it around that stuff. Just ask questions to get them talking. And what invariably will happen, I said this before, all of a sudden they'll say something like, oh, while I got you, Tom, what do you think about that neighbor's home that just sold up the street? And they will start to ask you if you have been doing a good job branding yourself as an agent.
Right.
The branding only gets you so far. The calls are what convert. And so just start with the Ford script.
Okay, you just spoke to every veteran over here. I won't say the name of one of my clients in Beverly Hills who said, if I lose one more deal to someone I just had dinner with in the last 30 to 45 days that suddenly bought a $5, $7, $10, $15 million house from somebody else, I'm going to quit the business. And I'm like, listen, I did one of those, grabbed him by the shoulders. I'm like, listen, you can be as friendly as you want. If you don't segue to having meaningful conversations about buying and selling real estate and what their questions are about the market, you are a great person to go have dinner and drinks with and charity events, but not so great to transact with.
Let me give you an example.
That's
and
a
case
hard
study.
truth. And every veteran knows what I'm talking about right now.
Let me give you this happened to me recently. So we're at a Halloween party with my kids, right? Woman comes up to me, says, oh, my house isn't selling. It's in Fishtown, blah, blah, blah. She's dressed like the bride of Frankenstein. And the World Series is on during all this. And I said, great. I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to call you Monday. And we're going to have a real conversation about this. Because we're in a social environment. I used to struggle with that a lot. It was like, how do you train? I don't want to go into full real estate mode at the Halloween party. So I set a conversation with her. We talked. We went over what was going on. We sold the home. She listed with us, canceled the other. It was so simple because I treated it like a business conversation. And that's where people, they don't know how to turn it on and off. Right. And I know from talking to you, I mean, you see Tom, you see him socially. We're at the game last night. That's cool. We're here. It's all business. You're on stage. It's all business. You have to have that alter ego, like we talked about with Todd Herman a couple years ago in New York. And if you can't do that and you're not showing up like the professional, it's going to hurt your business.
Yes.
Because I don't want my doctor being my buddy if I'm getting surgery done. I want him to be the surgeon.
Right. I want her to be on point, focused, right?
Exactly. And you've got to treat it that way. And things got blurred a lot the past couple of years because it was go, go, go. And the hustle component, like you said, was very real, where it was 7 days a week, 15 hours a day sometimes.
No breaks.
Hey, I'm at my kid's soccer game. I'll come meet you in 10 minutes because we only have this 15-minute showing. That's fine.
Right.
So being able to transition from they actually inquired about a real estate conversation. You don't know if it's going to be real or not. Hey, I'm going to call you Monday. Let's set up a time. Yeah. Let's treat it like an appointment. It was an appointment to get an appointment to sell a house. So that works really well. A lot of people struggle with that. I've struggled with that, especially in social settings.
Yeah. I never had that problem.
I mean, I call some. You told me the guy down the street that I never met before was going to sell his house. I'd go knock on his door, but the social settings were weird, and I think a lot of people, they don't want to come off with commission breath.
Right. Again, that goes back to willingness to have meaningful conversations.
Exactly.
To ask very curious questions. It's so easy. Like, hey man, what's your opinion on the market?
Well, Tom, it depends if you're looking to.
No. I mean, like I'm the real estate agent, and I'm just with my buddy, and I'm like, hey man, what's your opinion on the market? Everybody's got an opinion about the real estate market. Everybody's got an opinion about the value. We talked about the guy that, was listed the house down the street from you, right?
Yes,
You're like, oh my God, it's worth this. You're like, but it's probably not worth that, right? Like everybody's got an opinion. All you have to do is just go, hey, what's your opinion on the market?
People love talking about real estate. Look at the amount of reality TV shows that have come out of the real estate business. And we know some people on them. They've been wildly successful. It's great for them, but the reason they have them on is for viewership, and people want to know more about this.
Yes. Okay, and every one of those, so yesterday, big shout out to James and David, right? $1 Million Listing, John and Adam. I texted them yesterday, and I'm like, how many appointments have you guys set so far? Listing appointments? They're like 19, 17, 21. I'm like, all right, boys. The TV stars that are killing it. I'm walking Balboa Island. I run into Josh Altman and his wife, and I'm like, hey man, what's up? And it's like, he's like, oh man, just like, it's so nice to come down here. I'm like, you making your phone calls? He's like, I'm always making my phone calls, man. Like the advanced people. All right, so let's switch gears. Number 3, you want to win in this market? Watch this hook. Stop doing follow-up. You want to win in this market? Stop doing follow-up. Where do you think I'm going with this?
You're talking about the kind of follow-up that most agents do where it's, hey, I'm checking in.
No.
I don't know. You threw me for a loop here.
I know. Ready? So I'm going to show you how you stop doing follow-up. You ready to learn how to stop doing follow-up? All right. So, hey, Tom, so it's been great. I'm super excited. Sounds like you and Bridget really want to do something maybe in the fall. So here's what I'd like to do. Open up your calendar really fast.
Okay.
Open up your calendar. I'm looking right now at, you guys gonna be in town over the month of August?
Yeah, we will.
Okay. What? Actually, let's go July. You gonna be in town for 4th of July?
No, we won't.
Okay, so you're gone 4th of July. Are you back the
week
second
after,
week?
the week
All right,
after.
so second week of July. Let me just go to my calendar really fast here. Beginning of the week or end of the week? What's better for you?
End of the week.
End of the week?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the calendar like Thursday the 13th, Friday the 14th, Saturday the 15th.
Yeah, Friday works.
Friday's good. Okay, mornings or afternoon? Like what? I mean, the best time for you and I to talk.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. Okay, so I got a 1 already scheduled, and I got a 4 already scheduled. Can you do between 2 and 4, or do you want me to call you after 5?
I can do 2.
Okay, so all right, so 2 o'clock. Let me put it in really fast here. All right, so Tom, Toole. Okay, prepare strategy session for getting Bridget and Tom's home on the market. Okay, so Tom, I've got you in my calendar for a prepare to get your home on the market strategy session for July 14th at 2 o'clock. Do you want to do that face-to-face, or you want to do it via Zoom? Do you want to do it on a phone call? What's better for you? I mean, it's a strategy session.
Yeah, Zoom's good.
Okay,
that'll be easy.
All right, so I'll send you a Zoom link. Will Bridget be there?
Yes, she'll be there.
So between the two of you, like who would be more in the lead on like what we need to do to get the home ready with the kids?
Definitely not me.
Okay, so let's make sure Bridget. Actually, give me Bridget's email.
Sure.
And I now put in Bridget's email and Tom's email, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I just put that in my calendar. You just got an email link for that.
Okay, awesome.
My assistant's gonna add a Zoom, so you're gonna get two emails on that. So heads up. So I should probably though ping you in June just to remind you that we're having that strategy session.
Okay.
All right. And obviously, if anything comes up between now and June when I ping you. So June, let me just go to my calendar really fast here. And it's just a text, Tom. Same thing, kind of end of the week?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So why don't I, like middle of the month, okay? June 16th?
Yeah, that works.
Oh, it's like right after my son's birthday. All right. So June 16th, I'll text you kind of, sort of like, 2 o'clock-ish and just say, Tom, thinking about you and Bridget. At that point, I'll probably give you a little insight on the market.
Okay.
Should we just have a conversation about that, or do you want to just text? I'm good either way.
I like phone calls, so that sounds good.
All right, so why don't I call you? So actually, that'd be actually good because then 30 days later, we're doing the strategy session.
Perfect.
So, all right, so let's see here. So June, okay, Tom, call. So what I'll do is at that point, I'll do a little 12-month look back on home prices.
Okay.
Well, I'll do a quick, all right, so here's where the market is with interest rates. So it's not going to make a difference because we have no idea where October is going to be. And then I'll have at least the 3 to 4 recent sales, right? That would be the closest thing to comparable to your home. But remember, I haven't been in your home in a while. So, it's just those numbers. So I'll have all that stuff ready to go. Okay, so I'll call you. Cool. So June 16th, 2 o'clock, boom, in my calendar. No more follow-up. The only thing you do is you what?
Set an appointment.
You set the next appointment to have the next. And notice I didn't say, hey, on July 14th, I'm going to call you. What did I say? It's the strategy session to look at getting your home on the market in the fall.
Planning meeting strategy session. Consumers know what that means.
Right.
They don't know what a listing appointment is or a market analysis.
No.
The tentative appointment, see, it's funny you say that because I was always big on you get that commitment from somebody, you get it in their calendar, then you get a yes, right? And NLP basics are you start getting, you stack the yeses. You stack the yeses. And the tentative appointment worked really well for me. Like, hey, I got to check with my wife. Great. So, my schedule fills up pretty quickly. What do you think would be a good time for you guys? Let me just pencil it in. And pencil it in is a great term you can write down and use too, because they cancel whatever, at least you're in the game with them at that point. So that makes a ton of sense. So I've been doing that for years. I just didn't know what you were talking about. So that was good.
Yeah. So it's the end of follow-up. The only thing we do now is we schedule the next appointment. You know where I got this? My wife walking in, this is like, I don't know, whatever, like sometime before the pandemic, which everything is kind of before the pandemic, after the
Pre-March
pandemic.
2020.
Right. And she walks in super frustrated because she can't get into her hairdresser because her hairdresser is slammed and we're about to travel. And she's like, what am I? And I thought to myself, her hairdresser, he books himself out like 60 to 90 days. So now every time she goes, she schedules the next hair appointment before she leaves. Hair appointment, selling your most valuable asset.
Think about how personal of an experience it is getting your hair done. I think that, especially for women, I mean, I go every 2 weeks. It's a little different.
Yep.
My stylist, whatever you want to call her, she's booked out for months.
Right.
I'm booked into July with her now.
Right.
Why aren't you doing that with your real estate business? I think that's the question you got to ask yourself. That's a great point.
Yeah. So no more follow-up. The only thing we do now is we always book the next appointment, even if the next appointment is just simply to touch base and give them an insight on the market to figure out where they're at. Hey, look, why don't we, Tom, I know you guys are kind of up in the air on this and you got a lot of different options. Why don't we just schedule, I don't know, how about like just in 30 days? Why don't we just have a conversation in 30 days?
Sure.
And look, what I'm going to show up with is just, some insight on the market, right? And then, just to figure out like, where are you guys at? What are you guys thinking about? And there's no obligation. It's just me doing what I do best, which is I'm in the business of helping people get educated so they can make good decisions, right? I'm not a salesperson. Like this is all I do.
What you just said there is exactly the approach you need to have in this kind of market, because if you advocate for the consumer, hey, Tom, I want to see what's going to be best for you and Kathy and the boys. Like if you don't transact, that's cool. I just want to give you information so you can make a great decision for your household.
Right.
And if you really believe that, which if you're watching this, you're already investing in yourself, you're probably doing that. You're going to win in this market, because a lot of the people that were rocking and rolling and kind of became the rock, like you said, they were just caring about the next deal. Right. And to me, one of the things you mentioned here is setting that next follow-up. For the veteran out there, for the person that's hair is on fire, and for the person that maybe is rocking and rolling and now not feeling that, you got to use your CRM and set this stuff up, because if you have to have such a big pool of clients. The bigger the pool, the bigger the business. And if you're not working with an uncomfortable amount of people you're talking to, there's going to be less homes that sell this year.
Yes.
There's still 4 million. I only need about 1,000 of the 4 million, so we're cool. But there's still plenty of houses that are going to sell.
Yeah.
You've got to lean on the stuff you already have that maybe you didn't think you needed to use, or you had a story in your head about that.
Right. Did you happen to see my post the other day?
I did.
I was talking to Greer about this one, and oftentimes for my friend here listening, people say to me, like I posted this, and literally I got like 10 text messages. Was this because of our last coaching conversation?
We were talking about this.
Were you talking to me? And I'm like, no, I'm talking to myself. It never gets easier. I've just gotten better at doing hard things. I've been doing this for 33 years. It never gets easier. You've been doing this for 20 years. It never gets easier.
Nope.
We just get better at doing hard stuff. And if you can keep that in your head, my friend, you keep that in your head, making phone calls is hard. You know what's really hard? Having no future to live into, right? Setting the next appointment is hard. You know what's really hard? Having no one to talk to, having no opportunities, no buyers, no sellers. You know what's really hard? Having your hair on fire all the time. You know what's also really hard? Slowing down and hiring an assistant. You know what's also really hard? Slowing down and hiring a VA. You know what's also really hard? Telling the client that's eating up all of your time, right? And you've got to drive 20, 30 minutes every single time outside of your normal marketplace to help them because they were referred to you by a buddy and they want to buy a really expensive house, but they can't make a decision. You know what's also really hard? Having an honest conversation with them about narrowing down their focus, right? Simplifying, and we're going to limit the time, but when we find opportunity, we're going to write offers now. Like, that's hard. You know what's also hard? Driving them around till the end of time. Everything is hard.
Yes.
Everything is hard. All right.
Well said.
Here's the last one, and then I think we said 30 minutes, and we're probably at 40. All right.
Typical.
The number 4 things. We said 4 rules for winning in a volatile market. You got to make the decision. Are you in or out? Right? Conversations and appointments. Your point was spot on. Fill all the white space in your calendar with appointment setting time. I say number 3, the end of follow-up, no more follow-up, just schedule the next appointment, even if it's just to check in. And then number 4 is, what do you do with buyers and sellers that are just questioning the market and trying to time everything?
This is one of the biggest challenges agents are going to have. You know what you need to tell them? What's actually going on. If they're saying, hey, Tom, I'm nervous because rates went up and I can't afford the home I want anymore. You know what the answer is to that? You're right. Affordability has gone down. Here's what we can afford now. Here's the facts of the market. And the people that are serious about transacting will, and I've been in these living rooms. I've been in this spot when someone's losing their job, the market's crashing. Talk about that 4-year depression we went through. You've got to present the facts. And they're going to say, okay, we're going to do this anyway because we have a life condition that's affecting this move, which is historically why people move in the first place. Death, divorce,
default.
Default.
De-relocation. That's my favorite one. De-relocation. Diapers, diamonds. Right. Well, it's the 7 Ds, right?
Well, and I never remember the 7 Ds. I just know when I hear someone's moving and the motivation matters. You challenged me last year to come up with like recession power rules. You know what the number 1 was? Motivation matters because in this kind of market, there's going to be people. You got 3 kids and you're in a 2-bedroom townhouse and the kids are not getting smaller. The kids don't get smaller, they get bigger. That person's moving no matter what. You see someone that's older and maybe can't handle maintaining a large home anymore. They're going to move no matter what. You see someone that obviously like divorce, like that's a bad situation. And you're really helping people in all these instances. And this is where a lot of agents don't get it. You're helping people, even though it might be a tough conversation. And the client may hate you the entire time because you're telling them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, which is the sign of a great agent. That's what Carl Rizzuto told me on like my first coaching call with you guys. It's the more conversations you have, and when you ask the right questions, because there's not, and then the motivation reveals itself. And then when you hear that, that's the people you want to really pursue and help and set that next appointment with.
Talking with Phil Jones the other day, and we were doing a live session for a bunch of people. And
I know where you're going with this.
The because. Right? And I was like, that's it. And so for my friend listening, when you ask enough questions, so I'm listening to Tom and I'm like, okay, so you got 3 kids, you're in a 3-bedroom condo, you're out of room, you're working still part-time from home, you're full of distractions, but you're also concerned about buying power, right? But we know today you can actually still buy a home for X without 45 other offers competing. You told me this is not your forever home, right? But it is the transition home because you told me when the kids get older, they want to go to this school. So Tom, Bridget, because you told me you got 3 kids and you're in this 3-bedroom and it's really getting uncomfortable, the kids are only getting bigger, you're working from home and you don't have any space, because you told me that this is not your forever home, because you told me, I'm going to recommend you guys pull the trigger.
My first coach, Carl Rizzuto, told me this. Bring it back to the motivation every time.
Always.
Because it's easy to get wrapped up in the drama of a transaction or getting the home ready for the market or everything else. They started, no one likes moving. Moving's one of the top 5 most stressful things.
Sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible. And they move because they want a better quality of life, whatever that looks like. And you talked about the 7 Ds, and it's all better quality. So when you bring it back to the motivation, all the drama of, oh, they made an offer that was too low, or I don't want to drop my price, or there's too many offers. Well, we're still in the situation. So we've got to solve this. And that's why people move. It's life changes that cause this. And if you find the motivated clients, you find the motivated buyers and sellers, and you can deliver them value to your first and second point, that's how you win and take market share in times like these. And I heard this on a podcast. No one ever gets market share back when they lose it. You only take market share. This is every company in the history of business. This is the chance for people to go out, and there's career opportunities right now in times like these. And it's so important to play offense, charge the storm like we talked about last night. And you watch the Super Bowl, right? Painful for me to watch. You know who won? The team that scored the most points and played offense and dictated tempo.
Thank you very much.
I mean, when you're playing defense with your business, you're going to lose, right? It's not a sporting event. So everything you said there, I'm pumped up. Like this is getting me charged up here.
This is, by the way, the very first point I make at every one of my roadmap tours. Get on offense, right? And I think the point of the day was every white space you have in your calendar, fill it with appointment setting time. Like that was it. Okay, you have a live show in 5 minutes.
Oh, all right.
So thank you so much for watching. Follow Tom Toole. Send this to a rookie who's feeling like a rock. Send this to your buddy whose hair's on fire. Send this to a buddy that is a veteran she's just feeling a little displaced, and she just needs a gentle nudge to remind her of her greatness, remind her of how skilled she is with working with clients. And if she just picks up her phone and does the CMA a day, or reaching out, or she stops doing follow-up and starts booking appointments, she actually puts time in her calendar just to get appointments, she's going to be on fire. All right. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next show.